What's up guys, it's Tom here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video. And Liverpool could post a welcome Alexander Isak announcement this week because Newcastle United this morning have messaged Liverpool that they can finally start the bidding for Alexander Isak, because it looks like Newcastle are signing Johan Wissa and they are in talks to sign Rodrigo Muniz, the Fulham striker, as well. It looks like Šeško could go to Man United. That's the latest, because Man United are interested in Benjamin Šeško as well, and Šeško was waiting for maybe a bigger club than Newcastle to approach him. And the news hit Liverpool's office early at around 8 a.m. UK time. That means that the fireworks are about to begin, and now multiple journalists have reported, including Florian Plettenberg, that Liverpool have already agreed personal terms with Alexander Isak, which is fantastic news. And I think that wasn't any question that Alexander Isak is absolutely desperate for a move to Liverpool, and they have been talking, Liverpool and Alexander Isak and his agent have been talking in the past few days, and also Arne Slot called up Alexander Isak as well. So Liverpool offered him a total package worth around £300,000 per week, so Isak will earn even more than Florian Wirtz. And now all that is left to do is for Liverpool to agree a transfer fee with Newcastle. And Florian Plettenberg, this is just breaking news in the last few minutes before starting to record this video, and this is why I waited a little bit not to do this video in the morning, because now Florian Plettenberg has reported that talks between Newcastle and Liverpool are progressing well for Alexander Isak. The players' camp are very positive about the situation, so Alexander Isak's agent and representatives, they are very positive about Alexander Isak going to Liverpool, because they think Newcastle will reluctantly sell. They don't want to keep a player who is basically on strike, and Isak is hopeful that an agreement between Liverpool and Newcastle can be reached. A record bid will be needed, and Liverpool are prepared to submit a record bid with add-ons and bonuses. The bid could be 135 to 140 million pounds. A verbal agreement in principle over a contract running until 2031 has been reached with Liverpool. So Alexander Isak will sign a new 6-year contract at Liverpool once this transfer goes through. And Fabrizio Romano said that his clear choice, Alexander Isak, only wants Liverpool. He's not interested in any other club, even the Saudi clubs. Personal terms are not going to be an issue. The choice was made weeks ago by Alexander Isak that he wants to sign for Liverpool, and Isak is also aware that Liverpool are prepared for a record bid. Liverpool was just respectful to Newcastle. Liverpool waited until Newcastle gave the green light for them to do this bid, and I think that is absolutely fantastic news, because now we could have the here we go later this week. Of course this will be a tough negotiation, but it looks like Newcastle advancing on some player signings of their own helped this matter, and Newcastle also realized that this is really a bad look that Alexander Isak is now actually training in the Real Sociedad training facilities. And I think that's very curious. It was reported by many journalists that Alexander Isak actually flew away from Newcastle to Spain to train at the Real Sociedad training facilities, his former club. And also it's curious that one of the reasons could be because Real Sociedad could pocket as much as 10% of this transfer fee, because they have a 10% sell-on clause inserted into the contract which Alexander Isak into the transfer contract that they signed with Newcastle. So if let's say Liverpool pay 140 million for Alexander Isak, then Real Sociedad get 14 million of that, which is a pretty decent transfer fee. And the Spanish newspapers are reporting that Alexander Isak is now training in Spain, where he works with a physical trainer to recover from his injury. That's absolutely fake, and his preparation is being continued for the start of the next season. Alexander Isak is preparing to play next season for Liverpool. Sky Sports is reporting that I fully expect if Liverpool come to the table with a big offer, that deal to Isak to Liverpool will get done. I think Liverpool will end up doing the deal for around 135 million, something like that. That's what Sky Sports and some of their reporters are reporting. And And also Alexander Isak, before flying to Spain to train, he went back to Sweden, to his home country, on a short holiday. That's how much he checked out of this whole Newcastle thing. Of course, Eddie Howe and the Newcastle Chiefs and the Newcastle officials are absolutely furious about it, but they didn't publicly discipline Alexander Isak, because that would also look bad. They just reluctantly admitted that there is no way back for Alexander Isak. Alexander Isak doesn't want to play for Newcastle anymore. He doesn't want to do anything with Newcastle anymore. And also, Alexander Isak put his house up for rent in Newcastle as well. That was confirmed by multiple people as well. So it's pretty clear that Alexander Isak doesn't want to go back to Newcastle ever again. And Craig Hope, who is a Newcastle-based journalist, he has been one of the most reliable when it comes to this transfer saga. He said that Alexander Isak is using the training facilities at former club Real Sociedad. So far, Newcastle have not confirmed if they are aware of this, but it's not a good look either way for the club. And if he is injured, then surely his rehab should be taking place at his own club. And that's not the case, Craig Hope is reporting. And Newcastle are still in talks with Benjamin Šeško, but because Benjamin Šeško's agent has been talking to Man United as well, now it looks like that the more likely scenario is Šeško will go to Man United, and Vissa and maybe Rodrigo Muniz, another striker playing at Fulham, he will go to Newcastle as well. And I think if Newcastle miss out on Šeško as well, then they will be caught with their pants down in this whole transfer window, because imagine going from Isak and Ekitike up front, they could go to Vissa and Muniz up front. What a massive downgrade that is. Absolutely crazy. And this is the reason why so many Newcastle fans are unhappy that Newcastle don't have a permanent CEO, they don't have a permanent sporting director. So that's why their whole transfer window has been a mess, apart from signing Anthony Elanga. This is absolutely crazy. The updates that we are getting from this transfer saga is absolutely crazy. And also, Newcastle are still desperate to get in players, but Šeško is problematic because he's leaning towards going to Man United. Rodrigo Muniz, I think, of Fulham is doable. Especially if Šeško goes to Man United, then Ollie Watkins suddenly becomes available. I think for the right price, Aston Villa would be willing to sell. They were actually willing to sell Watkins for 40 million in January, but Arsenal didn't pull the trigger. And also Nicholas Jackson is too expensive for Newcastle. Maybe they get him on loan because Chelsea signed João Pedro, Liam Delap as well, so they have a lot of strikers as well. But Newcastle they really need to get their stuff together, because so far it hasn't been a successful transfer window. And Šeško's agent, also, what a cheeky bugger he is. He's playing games, putting two desperate clubs together, pitted against each other, because Newcastle and Man United are both desperate for a number 9, desperate for a striker. That's a dangerous game to play by Benjamin Šeško's agent, because both clubs could walk away from the deal saying that this agent is not playing fair games. Some agents get too greedy in this transfer window, so he's playing a dangerous game. But also, if they end up going against each other in a bidding war, then the Šeško's transfer fee will get inflated, and the agent gets the bigger commission, a bigger cut of that transfer fee, and that's what the agent cares about ultimately. He doesn't care that much about Šeško's career. He knows that even if he stays at Leipzig from 1 year from now, he can get a big move again. But I think Šeško will leave Leipzig and he will end up at Man United, and I think Newcastle will end up with Muniz and Vissa, and that's not a good look. What is also pretty sad is that even though a lot of clubs are desperate for strikers, no Premier League club approached Liverpool so far for Darwin Nunez. But hopefully, if Brentford lose Vissa, if Fulham lose Muniz, maybe one of them will approach Liverpool for Darwin Nunez. But I don't think Darwin Nunez would go to a mid-table Premier League club. I think he would prefer to go to a Napoli or an Atletico Madrid, but those clubs are not really interested in Darwin Nunez at the moment. That's the problem, that the clubs playing in the Champions League, they don't think Darwin Nunez is good enough for them. I can kind of understand why, because Darwin Nunez has missed so many chances. He only scored 7 goals. He again missed an absolute sitter against Yokohama. which was absolutely a brilliant game. I couldn't watch it live because I was working. I'm a private English teacher. I'm doing that as a second job besides doing YouTube, so I couldn't watch the game live. But I watched the extended highlights, and Florian Wirtz, what a player we have. He scored an absolutely brilliant goal. It looks like Salah will be a fantastic playmaker as well for Liverpool. And Rio Ngumoa is growing into one of my favorite players at Liverpool. At just 16 years old, he already scored 2 goals in pre-season, and Trainioni also got on the score sheet, like a 16 and a 17-year-old youth academy players getting goals for Liverpool, even in pre-season. That's absolutely fantastic to see. And you could see Salah, Van Dijk, how happy they were that Rio Ngumoa is such a talent. Of course, he will not start every week, and Liverpool need to be careful how to use him, especially in the Premier League, because he doesn't have the physicality to play in the Premier League week in, week out. But what a talent! And if Liverpool nurture him well, and if he avoids many serious injuries, and what's important is Liverpool don't overplay him, but he could be a realistic backup to Cody Gakpo, which I don't think anybody thought at the start of the season that Rio Ngumoa could stay and be proper backup to Cody Gakpo. But imagine when Gakpo runs at the fullback for 60 minutes and then he gets subbed off and Rio Ngumoa comes on, and the fullback, after getting run ragged by Gakpo for 60-65 minutes, he gets a 17-year-old Ngumoa running at him at full pace with all the bags of tricks that he has. And he will be a nightmare for some defenders. And I'm just afraid that he will get hacked down and he will get some really harsh tackles, because not many defenders like these dribbling demons like Rio Ngumoa. But he's a magician, he's a rough diamond, and I absolutely love his playing style. This is exactly how I love to play on a five-a-side football pitches as well. Running at people, doing a bag of tricks, getting past them, and either shooting and scoring or getting an assist. And Liverpool also missed some big chances in the first half, and in the second half Cody Gakpo hit the post. Darwin Nunez missed an absolute sitter. That should have been a Salah assist as well. Salah, it looks like, will turn into more of a playmaker. He will also, of course, score a lot of goals. I think Salah will still get 25-30 goals if everything goes right, but he will get maybe even more assists than last season. And last season already was Salah's best when it comes to assists. We didn't get to see Ekitike that much, because in the highlights he wasn't that involved, and I haven't watched the full game yet, but I will try to watch the full game as soon as I can. But Ekitike looked like he had some good moments, good touches, but he didn't really get into many big goal-scoring opportunities. I absolutely love Florian Wirtz. Jeremy Frimpong, what a player. He came on in the second half, he gave a fantastic assist to Trainioni, and he scored a fabulous goal. And then Rio Ngumoa pricking the ball up at the halfway line, and then running at the defense, getting past some people, and then shooting and scoring. And that was the highlight of the game, and probably one of the highlights of the preseason. Szoboszlai's goal against AC Milan was chef's kiss. That was magical. But this Rio Ngumoa goal is probably my second favorite moment of the whole preseason tour. And I think now Liverpool fly back to Liverpool. We have a couple of more preseason games against, I think, Athletic Bilbao at Anfield. And then on August the 10th, Liverpool play the Community Shield final against Crystal Palace at Wembley. And I'm really, really excited for that. Hopefully, Alexander Isak will be a Liverpool player by that time. And just one more comment on this Isak saga. If Newcastle miss out on Šeško, they need to sign some alternatives before this deal can go through. But it looks like that the deal is active for Johan Wissa. The Newcastle are also talking with Fulham for Rodrigo Muniz. Those transfer deals shouldn't be too difficult to get done. And also Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins is another option if Šeško chooses Man United. That's what Craig Hope is reporting. And also it's worth mentioning that Alexander Isak isn't doing any of this because Liverpool told him to go on strike or told him to do any of this. He's doing it because Isak told Newcastle that this was his last season and he will move on. And now Newcastle are trying to hold him hostage, even though Newcastle promised Alexander Isak either bigger wages or he will get sold. Alexander Isak gave Newcastle a trophy. He helped Newcastle get back to Champions League football. He made Newcastle challengers again. And now Newcastle try to paint Alexander Isak as the villain in this story because they haven't stuck to their promise, to their word, which they gave to Isak. And of course, Alexander Isak will be annoyed and he will kick up a fuss and he will go on strike because he was promised one thing and then Newcastle are doing something completely different. And now Newcastle are inviting the Liverpool bid in public, which is fantastic, but Newcastle are also stalling on other deals behind the scenes, which is not a good look. Newcastle have the funds already to do this bid. Isak is more than ready. He's eagerly waiting like a little kid at Christmas to open his present, to go to Liverpool. Newcastle's frustration around the matter is starting to show, and they are also trying to paint Isak in a negative light. They're trying to paint Liverpool in a negative light, even though they made promises to Isak like 8, 9, 10 months ago that Isak is getting a new contract, and then they changed the sporting director, Amanda Stavely, I think that's her name. She left and the new sporting director said we are not giving Isak a new contract. And of course Isak got annoyed by that. So yeah, let me know what do you think about this whole transfer saga. And Arne Slot said this about Rio and Gomorrah. He's definitely a player who shows at this moment. If he keeps bringing these performances in, then this definitely won't be the last time that he plays a few minutes for Liverpool. But it's all about consistency. He needs to show it every single day we are on the pitch and every single day in training. And I think he will show it and he will get some playing time. He will get some minutes. But, Arne Slot will use him sparingly. I think he will play a lot in the cup games and sometimes maybe against lesser Premier League teams as well. He will get some game time. So, of course, in the attack, Liverpool have more than enough options, even in midfield. But we need to sign a centre-back. Once this Alexander Isak transfer goes through, hopefully this week, then Liverpool will turn their attention to a centre-back. What a transfer window, guys! I'm absolutely over the moon. Everything is looking fantastic right now, and hopefully long may it continue. I cannot wait for the seasons to start in like 11 days. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day. See you later, guys. Goodbye.